Hello again. We are the Fantasy Sultans, week 2 in the NFL. He's the Hall of Famer, Mike Sheck. I'm Tripp Rogers, and we're ready to go with week 2. Week 1, well, there's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. Sounds like Clint Eastwood movie. I guess number one, let's talk a little bit about week 1 because we saw some good fantasy performances, unexpected fantasy performances, and ugly fantasy performances. I don't know where to start, Mike. Where do you start?
Well, we got to start with the good. And of course, managers breathing a sigh of relief on Christian McCaffrey. 9 receptions for 73 yards, over 20 fantasy points. He tacked on 69 rushing yards. I know it's only week 1, but the glass has got to be half full. And when McCaffrey's healthy, the 49ers could do big things. So that's something to watch there. How about Baltimore and Buffalo putting on a show on Sunday Night Football? Was that a great game or what? 81 combined points.
Oh, yeah.
Close to 1,200 yards of offense. And King Henry showing that he could still be productive over the age of 30. What about Pittsburgh quarterback Aaron Rodgers? He's well over the age of 30. 4 touchdowns, a revenge game against his ex, and really gets the job done here. I mean, we kind of questioned him saying, oh, well, Rodgers is kind of washed up. I don't know. I mean, you may want to reconsider because he is with a good system, and I'm talking about a good coach too, and Mike Tomlin. So again, we'll have to see because Rodgers has done these performances in the past. He comes out with these great games and then he lays eggs. So we'll have to see what happens there. But definitely that was a good one. I mean, did anybody start him in a super flex? Because if so, I want you on the show next week because I definitely would not have expected him to have that kind of performance. Another good performance too by Tampa Bay's Emeka Obuga. He had a explosive debut in a Buccaneers uniform, getting the job done. 4 receptions, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. How about another big surprise of the week? Daniel Jones passing for 272 yards with a touchdown. Also 2 rushing touchdowns too. Yeah, I know.
I want to go. I want to go back to Mbuka real quick.
Yeah.
Remember, Tampa Bay. Chris Godwin is still out. He's on the PUP list, and he won't be on at least for 4 weeks. Coming back from that injury from last year, and I remember he was saying that he would be the guy who would be a number 2. He really stepped into that role in Tampa Bay and did wonderful. As for Daniel Jones, I think part of it was the Colts. I think part of it was the Miami Dolphins' defense was awful. The Miami Dolphins were awful, period. But Daniel Jones showed you enough to get a big contract from the Giants the 1 year that they did well. But since then, he hasn't shown a whole lot. We'll see what happens. And remember, they've got Anthony Richardson if he starts to falter. And I think the knock on Jones is he's not mobile enough, whereas Richardson is a little more of a mobile quarterback. Hey, you're talking about big performances. How about the Vikings in the second half against the Bears and J.J. McCarthy? Again, I think we were kind of like the jury was out on the Vikings. Remember, Sam Darnold last year just lit it up for the first 17 weeks of the season. It was week 18 in the playoff game that he didn't do well. But I say that because, J.J. McCarthy showed really well on Monday night. He gets another primetime showcase Sunday night against Atlanta. And I am sure there are some people who are saying, let me get some J.J. McCarthy love, especially with the injury to Brock Purdy. And we need to talk about that. 49ers, no Brock Purdy week 2, and it could be longer than that. But week 2, they catch a break on the schedule. They play New Orleans, who's probably the worst team in the NFL, just behind the New York Football Giants. Again, that hurts. Hurts me to say that. But they catch a break in the schedule. Mac Jones, who was with the Jacksonville Jaguars last year and did well when Trevor Lawrence went down. I mean, not great, but he did well. Mac Jones will be there on Sunday. As long as you have Christian McCaffrey, I think they're going to be good. And the 49ers will get healthier. And if they get Purdy back, I think the 49ers will be pretty good. I think it'll be an interesting weekend. Mike, we usually, this is the Fantasy Sultans. What are we known for? Import exports. So it's time to import. It's time to export. Somebody was asking me today, Mike, we've been doing this for quite a while. I said, yeah, at least 15 years. We've been doing this shtick for 15 years. At some point, we're going to get the Penske file.
I could do this in my sleep, right?
Excuse me. Let me curl up underneath my desk here and take a nap while you do import exports.
That's right. We're going to start in Kansas City with wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown. Chiefs' number one wide receiver Xavier Worthy collided with Travis Kelce on the first drive of the game, dislocated his shoulder. And that's going to enter Hollywood Brown into the picture to get a top receiving role. He's targeted 16 times, which is the most targets for him since 2022, was just one target shy of his career when he, and in the game, he caught 10 balls for 99 yards. Now, Worthy, until he returns, I mean, he's going to be the most sought after player. And Brown's going to get a little more usage, of course, too, with Rashid Rice not being in the lineup. And Rashid Rice will not return until week number 7. So there's definitely going to be production. When Xavier Worthy returns, there's definitely going to be production with Hollywood Brown. All right. As we said before, the tight end position, very difficult to manage in fantasy football. George Kittle, owners really need to pay attention here because you want a guy like Jawan Johnson from New Orleans. He could help you out. He was targeted 11 times against Arizona, hauling in 8 of them for 76 yards. Johnson targeted just 2 times less than Chris Olave. And that says a lot because Olave is a big receiver in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I just think that Jawan Johnson's going to get a lot of looks here. 2 running backs to stash in hopes to maybe reap the rewards down the line. Now, this may not be in the short term. This is more long-term here. Running back Bashal Tutin in Jacksonville. Travis Etienne was rolling in week 1 and appeared that Tutin was going to be having to wait a bit longer. But then the Jacksonville Jaguars, they traded Tank Bigsby to Philadelphia. That raises Tutin's value, made him someone you want to prioritize adding to the rosters. Now, keep in mind, we've seen it before. Travis Etienne is injury prone. So Tutin could have immediate value if he does have an injury and misses extended time. Otherwise, I'm thinking it might be second half of the season that we get Tutin rolling. Another stash, Jaden Blue of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he was inactive last week, so that really put him off of fantasy radars. But last week, Miles Sanders struggled and lost a fumble in a crucial spot. Outside of the 2 end zone touchdowns that Javonte Williams had, I don't think he was very impressive at all. He got the job done, but didn't excel at it. So I think here, Blue can maybe add a spark to that Dallas offense. Tripp?
I agree. All right, my import-exports. First, I'm going to go running back, and I'm going to go back to that Kansas City Chief team. I know that Isaiah Pacheco is the guy. He's the guy. But Kareem Hunt had some carries and would get some calls, especially when the Chiefs would get up. He is somebody that would be available. He'll split time with Pacheco, but you got to remember, if the Chiefs get up, they like to run the ball, play ball control. Patrick Mahomes wants to, and Kareem Hunt has done the job for them. He's probably available. Again, I'm going to go along with what you said, Mike. He would be more of a stash, not necessarily a guy who's going to help you right now. That's one possibility. I want to go wide receiver now. Darnell Mooney in Atlanta. Well, I remember when we first started touting him 3 years ago. And every year we seem to jump on the bandwagon and jump off because he disappoints. He disappointed in Chicago. He's gone to Atlanta. Last year, same thing. We were touting him and then nothing. Well, Darnell Mooney, if he can play, and again, remember, he's been one of those guys who was injured in training camp. They say Mooney should be able to play, and he could have some value this week because Drake London, while he is probably going to play, still, I think Darnell Mooney is a guy who could help you down the road, and he would move up on that depth chart if you get some injuries. And again, Drake London was out last week, and Atlanta played well against Tampa. But again, at the last minute, Atlanta snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, you got to be realistic. Probably, and I have lists here. Most out of fantasy players, waiver wire. Quentin Johnson for the Los Angeles Chargers. Don't forget he was a first-round draft pick. Yes, his hands almost derailed his career, but in week 1, 87, almost 88% ahead of routes, ahead of Keenan Allen in that Chargers offense. He would be on the field also. And I think he's somebody who you're going to want to pick up. He carries some big value. You want to get him if he's available on your waiver wire. And he was on most leagues. I think he was only added, and I have a stat right here. He was in 10% of leagues on Yahoo. So there's another guy. Last but not least, an import. Well, listen, if you're of the variety of streaming defenses and you pick and choose defenses depending on who they're playing, guess what? Here's a key for you. Just focus on the defense playing the New York Giants because that team will have a field day. The Giants offense was so awful, and the Dallas Cowboys play them this week. The Dallas defense looked pretty good against Philadelphia. Let's face it, they were in that game. And the Dallas defense is going to feast on that Giant line. I don't care who's quarterback. I don't care who the running back is. I don't care about the wide receivers. They're going to feast, and they're going to get some turnovers. So if you want a streaming defense this week, I would say take the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants. All right, Mike, before we go, week 1 is now history. Most disappointing fantasy team in your mind, week 1?
Well, there were a lot of disappointments, but I think there was one clear choice, and that was the Miami Dolphins as a whole. Tyreek Hill had just 4 catches for 40 yards. Jaden Waddle had 4 catches for 30. Devon A. Chen really did not put up a good performance. He kind of salvaged his day at the end with a late score. But when you're getting thumped 33-8, I mean, that is just bad. I mean, it was just terrible the whole day long. Tua just looked out of rhythm. The offensive line wasn't good.
Yep.
And I just think it's concerning if you have Dolphins players. I mean, I don't know if it's concerning with HN, but definitely in the receiving core, Tyreek Hill, Jaden Waddle, you have to be a bit concerned here, the way they turned in that week 1 performance.
The thing about the Dolphins also, you're just waiting for Tyreek Hill to implode. And I think that is coming. Tyreek Hill, not going to be happy. I just have a funny feeling. I mean, you saw what happened at the end of last season, and I was shocked they brought him back. But I just think Tyreek Hill is going to implode, and that's going to be bad news for this Miami Dolphins offense. All right, here's what I'll say. Disappointing fantasy team. It's got to be the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's why I say this. Jamar Chase, number 1 overall ADP, every fantasy draft. If Chase was on the board after 3, he had to be in a super flex league where everybody was drafting quarterbacks. No way he lasted. He was a consensus number 1. He was awful in the game. And his owners were not happy. But Cincinnati, going against the Cleveland team, first half they score 17 points, second half 7 yards of total offense. Come on. This is the Cleveland Browns. You're not playing the Bills. You're not playing the Ravens. This is the Cleveland Browns. And I know Cleveland has some good defensive players, but that was a disappointment. I just think, I mean, Joe Burrow did not perform well. If you had Joe Burrow starting for your team, you got, I mean, really?
Bupkis, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you didn't get anything from that. Chase Brown had a decent day. I know because I have him on one of my teams. But again, it wasn't in the second half. They only got 7 yards of offense. And I think that was the most disappointing from week one. We are the Fantasy Sultans. Hey, listen, you want to reach out to us? You got a fantasy question? We would love to hear from you. What you got to do is hit us up on the email at fantasysultans@gmail.com. We're also here every Thursday morning, 9 o'clock. We give you all the fantasy info, the scoop. We tell you what's going on. You know, we're givers. We always say this. We are givers. Mike is a Hall of Famer. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm all right. I took a shower today. I don't stink, But we're here to give you. We want to make you the best fantasy player you can be, unless you're in a league with us, because we want to beat you. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. Mm-hmm. We want to win. But we know people who listen to us anyway. So that's good. We appreciate that. We'll have some of them on because we'll mix it up with them on the Fantasy Sultans. Again, we're here every Thursday, every week during the fantasy football season. He's the Hall of Famer, Mike Sheck. I'm Tripp Rogers. We are the Fantasy Sultans.
And you are not.